What up, cucks? It's your boy, The Hater. And before I start today's video, I want to make a quick announcement, and that is that I just realized today that I never did my Q&A apocalypto. So that being said, that's back on the tracks now. I'm going to be a bit busy these next few weeks, but it's coming soon. However, I've lost all the questions, I'm pretty sure. So please feel free to put the questions in the comments or email your boy at indiewrestlingsucks@gmail.com. That's how I roll. Now let's get to it. Today we're going to talk about meritocracy. That's right, cucks. The hater's favorite word in the dictionary, meritocracy. Now, meritocracy means that there is a hierarchy in place, right? Where the people that are good are treated as if they're good. The people that are bad are treated as if they're bad, and so on and so on. In other words, you deserve your positioning in the company's hierarchy. Big E famously said at the WrestleMania kickoff thing that wrestling is not a meritocracy. And while that was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, because Big E is a character in WWE, right? And otherwise it's a complete irrelevant that nobody's ever going to give a flying fuck about, right? This guy's not going to be like a movie star or anything like that. He's going to be a retired WWE guy, and maybe one day he'll end up on like Ridiculousness or something as like one of the panelists. That's about all he's capable of. This guy hasn't shown anything, and the one time they gave him a chance, he ruined it by basically pulling the curtain and pulling a Young Bucks on him. Now, despite what I just said about Big E, who I now don't like anymore, the truth is that Big E was fundamentally correct. Wrestling is not a meritocracy. However, cuckolds, right? Wrestling is still presented as one, right? And within it, there is a built-in meritocracy called economics, all right? And good business decisions, right? This was actually kind of brought to the forefront during the whole Daniel Bryan B-plus player business decision storyline, right? Which basically was founded on the fact that Daniel Bryan may be the best wrestler in the world, quote unquote, which is not a real thing, of course, but it's not a good business move to put him there, right? Now, the truth is, in that dichotomy of good wrestler and good business decision, one of them is a reality of life, and the other one is make-believe, motherfucks. It's make-believe, right? Contrary to what you believe, right? Denzel Washington in his 60s is not beating up a gang of Russians. Liam Neeson is not going to go and kill like 20 Albanians and then 3 Arabs in the end and a few French people. It's not going to happen. In the real world, Denzel Washington steps up to a Russian mobster, gets put in his place immediately because he's an actor. In the real world, the guys from Albania grab Liam Neeson in the first scene of the movie, tie a cinder block around his legs, and throw him in the lake, and that's the end of that, right? Just like in Breaking Bad. Remember when Breaking Bad, when like the main guy, I forget, Walter White, right? I'm one of the haters of Breaking Bad. In the beginning, he concocts a little bomb and throws it and kills those 2 Filipinos. Well, in the real world, those 2 Filipinos would have put a gun in his throat and would have said, shut the fuck up and do as you're told. And he'd say, yes, sir. And that would be the end of the show. You understand me? That's how the world works. There's reality and then there's make-believe. Wrestling is the latter. It is make-believe, right? It is make-believe that Daniel Bryan is a tough guy. It is make-believe that Nakamura is a tough guy. It is make-believe that Randy Orton has any chance against Brock Lesnar, right? These things are make-believe, right? Now, wrestling is best when make-believe is believable. Do you understand me? At least in the context of the sport part of the presentation of wrestling as a medium. Excuse me, cucks. Now, with that being said, this is why people want big guys against big guys, right? Because wrestling doesn't have any respectable weight classes, right? Whereas unlike UFC, you can have, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor, and it's going to be much more entertaining, and it's going to be a much bigger draw than John Jones versus, Tom Aspinall, right? Which no one's really going to give a shit about. They're going to pretend they care, right? Because it doesn't matter that John Jones is bigger than Conor McGregor and Khabib can beat them both. Who cares about that, right? He's the champion of his weight class. But in wrestling, there is only one championship that matters. Everything else is ancillary, right? There's only one weight class in wrestling now. There's no cruiserweights. There's just men and women, right? Those are the only 2 classes, the only 2 categories, right? So with that being said, right, then we have to ask ourselves, well, wait a second. If there's only one category, how come Rey Mysterio is the champion and Mark Henry is a jobber? Doesn't seem right, does it? Exactly. That's the problem, right? And the meritocracy is circumvented by things like that. Now, within wrestling, as I've said, there is an inherent and subtle meritocracy called merchandise selling, right? The reason why Rey Mysterio is above the card to Mark Henry is because Rey Mysterio pushes merchandise and Mark Henry doesn't, right? That's the reason. It's the same argument people are making for Cody Rhodes. They say, well, Cody Rhodes is the #1 merchandise guy, so he should be in the main event. Hey, I actually agree with that. That's a pretty good argument, right? It's a much better argument. No, he deserves it. His father was in the Indies. Oh, Cody Rhodes was held down. No, the best argument for Cody Rhodes main eventing is the argument Big E made. Except Big E cannot make that argument because Big E is not a man. He is a character on a TV show, right? If they had like whatever, Ettore, whatever his name is, there, and he was like just an analyst and he never worked with them, fine. Or you can say whatever you want. I mean, even then you shouldn't, because even then you're a character, right? Even like the bald guy with a beard, whatever his name is, and also Sam from Jim and Sam, even those guys are there. They're playing a character. Like Pat McAfee is playing a character. Logan Paul is playing a character. Fucking, what's his name? I forget his name, the Puerto Rican. He's playing a character. Bad Bunny. He's playing a character, right? He's not just Bad Bunny, the record seller. He's Bad Bunny, the WWE character when he's there. You understand me? But the point still stands, right? But nobody makes that argument. The argument they make is Cody Rhodes is better than The Rock. And that's where I have a problem with this. #1. Obviously, he's not. We all know that. I don't even think I need to entertain that in this video. Maybe another video, Cucks. And #2, right? The issue that I have is, oh, he's the #1 merchandise seller. Yes, he may be the #1 merchandise seller. He may be beating Montez Ford and Otis for most merchandise. Good for him, Cuck. Good for him. But the reality is that we all know that there is another inherent metric. And that inherent metric is potential. That's right. Potential, Cucks. Potential. The Rock's potential has always been higher than Cody's, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, The Rock sold more t-shirts than Cody during his heyday. Like, that goes without saying, right? People actually watched wrestling back then. It wasn't this niche thing. It was like everybody knew who The Rock was. Now, nobody knows who Cody Rhodes is. So I'm not even going to use that argument. It's like a cheap argument because it makes my point very easily. I'm going to use this argument. In my opinion, if The Rock came back for 3 months full-time, right? And by full-time, I mean like, you know, part-time, like Cody Rhodes full-time, right? He would outsell Cody Rhodes. We all know this, right? We all know that if The Rock wanted to, right? And this is why fundamentally it is a problem to have Cody Rhodes in the main event. If The Rock wanted to, he could have the fans turn on Cody in 15 minutes. It would take 15 minutes for The Rock to cut a promo and just break down Cody Rhodes like I have, right? But do it like The Rock and in front of a live audience, and the fans would turn on Cody, right? The Rock is not doing this out of the kindness of his heart and out of the booking decisions. The reality is, if The Rock wanted to come out there and say, look, I understand you like Cody Rhodes, but the truth is, we all know I'm better. Cody Rhodes, remember when you screwed me over? And, you know, he could make something up, and then the point stands, right? The idea is The Rock could bury Cody Rhodes. In fact, in my opinion, he already did. But he could continue to bury him further, just like he buried John Cena and the fans turned on Cena, right? And you're not going to tell me that Cody is better than Cena. Back then, Cena was wrestling every week. You know what I'm saying? Cody Rhodes is there like every 2 months. So I don't even want to hear that bullshit. But the truth is, Cody Rhodes is being given this opportunity, right? Given this spot, not out of a meritocracy. Because if anybody merits it more than Cody, it's The Rock, right? The Rock merits it more than everybody else. He deserves it more than everybody else. Now, people are like, what has The Rock done for the company? Yeah, if you conveniently, narrow the scope to this 2 years that Cody Rhodes has been here and The Rock hasn't, yes, Cody Rhodes has done more for the company these 2 years than The Rock has. You know who else has done more for the company? Fucking Channing Stacks Lorenzo from NXT has done more for the company than The Rock has these last 2 years. So what? That doesn't matter. If we look at the aggregate, who has done more for the company in the last 10 years? I would argue it's The Rock, because Cody Rhodes hasn't done much, right? But The Rock has been a good ambassador. He has continuously put WWE over, right? He has been involved in wrestling through putting his daughter in NXT. He has done things that are relevant to wrestling. Then, if you consider their entire careers, it's not even close. The Rock has headlined multiple main events, right? Multiple WrestleManias, multiple time champion during the time when wrestling actually mattered. He has generated hundreds of millions of dollars more for WWE than Cody Rhodes ever will. You understand me? Like, The Rock in like a throwaway WrestleMania has generated more for WWE than Cody ever will, right? Oh, but hater, WWE's making more money now. It doesn't matter. It's called network effects. Look it up, cucks. And it's also called long-term profits. The Rock continues to make money for WWE. The Rock continues to lend his license and his likeness to WWE video games. A lot of people buy the game so they can play as The Rock. Nobody's buying the game to play as Channing Stacks Lorenzo, except for maybe me, motherfucks. With that being said, that's all I gotta say about that. Take care of yourselves.